How you doing, Sean?
Really well, Porky. How are you?
All right, mate. Is it me or is it cold?
It's really cold this morning. The gym was absolutely freezing. I think it was 2 degrees.
Wow. We'll get straight stuck in then. Uh, phew. Floyd versus Manny 2. Oh my God, is this where we're at now? It's like rematch room, isn't it?
It seems to be, yeah. At least Manny's had a. I know he didn't get the decision, but at least Manny's shown he's still got something recently. But yeah, Floyd will fight anyone for a few quid. If you're willing to fight Aaron Chalmers, um, I dare say you'll fight anyone. So yeah, a surprise, but not a surprise in the same breath.
Would you want to see it, Sean?
No, I'll watch it because I'll watch anything. I'll watch a couple of drunks fighting outside a pub, but I don't know how the demand can be there. Um, I don't know if Pacquiao thinking because he had that injury when they fought the first time he can get him, but yeah, I'm not fully understanding is it if it's going to be an exhibition or a commission's going to authorize and license it, but yeah, it's barrel scraping, isn't it, in terms of that? Where will it end?
Yeah. Well, Mayweather. They're saying it's going to be 4 or 5 months to promote it, right? So he'll be in his 50th year, won't he?
He will, and I know he still trains and stuff, but. It's just he's fought what has he fought? Japanese kickboxers, he's fought people off Geordie Shore, he's fought the son of John Gotti or the grandson, and now Pacquiao again. He's like a travelling circus. Um, he can't need the money, surely.
Well, I think what it is. It's ego in it, and they love money, but it's ego, and they can't leave it alone, can they? Some of them just can't walk away. Nathan cleverly set himself up financially. He walked away.
He
Calzaghe
did, he
did.
did.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not like he's got a legacy that's questionable. Obviously, what, 49 or 50, I know, 51, whatever. Um, he fought the best. He was a phenomenal boxer. Not everyone's cup of tea in terms of what he spoke outside the ring and stuff, but I'm more bothered about inside the ring. But surely this just tarnishes it. And I know he's not losing like Roy Jones did towards the end, but it just makes it seem a bit crass, that career from what you were in 2009, 10, 12, 15 to this. It's middle-aged men sort of fighting.
Yeah, for me, it's a bad indictment on the sport. But where are the next big stars? Where are these stars? Where are our next stars?
I remember you said I was listening to a couple of other podcasts and you'd raised that question, and I don't know. We've not had a wealth come through the latest sort of Olympic and elite squad cycle. Um, the names are globally. Um, America's not bringing in few. The ones that are have come through, like the likes of Shakur and stuff. They're not the most watchable. So yeah, it doesn't seem that there's a bubbling undercurrent of quality fighters coming out there. And one of the most exciting that's come out in the past few years, and I like him a lot, a real lot, is is Fabio Wardley, a man with little boxing background, really. He was selling, I think he was working in HR or something before. So yeah, it's a different, no matter what Bean and Co talk about, they're just not there, are they? And I don't know if it's because people that would have otherwise gone to boxing have gone into other sports, or it's just the fact that boxing's dying, or at least taking a 8 count.
Well, they all made a big noise about Ben Whittaker, but he rubbed everybody up wrong way, and he got exposed in that draw with Liam Cameron, didn't he? And that it looks like he's done. They've made a bit of noise about that Pat Brown, who Jamie Moore trains, but he's not really got going yet, has he?
No, he's fighting regular, which is great, but he's not getting many rounds. And he's talking about, well, he's already talking about stepping up to heavyweight. I think he needs to focus on the cruiserweight division before he does anything else.
Yeah. Uh, have you seen that in Daily Mail today about them England coaches that are nonsense or something? It's all about news this morning.
I have not. Is that the English amateur boxing coaches?
Yeah, let me just send you this quick link and have a little look at this.
I will.
There you go. Have a little look at that. Let me know what you think. I mean, what's going on here?
Blimey, it's just coming up. Stalker, a sex and people with multiple convictions. Blimey, where's the safeguard? I've worked in safeguarding for a number of years. I don't know how you get that falling through the thing. Um, Sport England will be they can cut the funding for that immediately on that yeah, people with extensive criminal convictions, people booted out the army for nonsense. Blimey, yeah. If Sport England who they rely upon for their funding, that could soon be given short shrift. The sport hasn't covered itself in glory over many issues over the past. That could be very damaging in
Got
terms of
lottery
impact.
funding, couldn't it, for AIS at Sheffield?
Yeah, it could absolutely be. What they'll probably do is try and do a safeguarding overhaul and bury it. But if it's making the headline of major national press, I don't see how they can.
Well,
But
look, what I see happening with that now is I see them doing a big investigation into the lot of them. And you see where I'm coming from? If Nicky Smedley sees that, who knows, they might look at his case again.
I hope so. It'd be nice for him to get some belated justice
Yeah,
with the
well, we're going to
things he's
see,
spoken
aren't
about
we?
as well. Yeah, blimey, I'd not seen it. I wish I hadn't seen it in some ways, but it's awful, absolutely awful. What safeguarding procedures do the supposed upper echelons of the amateur sport have in place? It seems far less than watertight, rudderless ship there.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? That.
No, it'll be squeaky bum time for everyone there. There'll be some emergency meetings going on today, won't there? I'd
Well,
hate to be their designated safeguarding lead.
who would you think makes all the big decisions up there? I know Robert McCracken's in charge at training and that. I don't know if Robert is it more of an admin error that?
It's a governance issue. That obviously is a business. They'll have an executive leadership team. One of them will have responsibility for safeguarding, and they should, at a business that size, an organisation that size, have a full-time safeguarding lead and probably a deputy designated safeguarding lead. So I dare say heads are going to roll on that one. But I hope they don't just do the usual thing where they'll fire the safeguarding lead and the actual principles and practices that allowed the culture to happen within the business get skirted over because they usually look for a fall guy that's not too high up or fall woman.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Fury AJ. Is it now too late?
It's several years too late. Um, if it was your pasta, it's far overcooked and it's going to be the barely edible. But people will eat it. I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen in 2026. I'm hearing AJ's not going to be back until then anyway, so I suspect he's going to perhaps want someone who won't test him at all if he wants a confidence builder. But if it happening, I was going to say if it happens in the next year or not. But the fact that you've mentioned Pacquiao and Mayweather are going to fight again means it'll happen at some point. But I think it will happen because it's a big money fight. And Billericay's finest amateur, I think he's full ready to press go on cash out, isn't he?
Yeah. Uh, Spotty Frank saying if the lazy Rhino beats Macmedoff, they're gonna look to put him in with Joshua. Eddie's saying they're gonna look to put him in with Wilder. Uh, how could they sell those fights for David if he does Macmedoff? Because he's more than capable of doing Macmedoff, isn't he? If
He
he
is all.
turns up.
Yeah, if he's training, etc. Obviously, I am always reminded of the last time he was one fight away from Povetkin and fought Price,
Mm,
but he wasn't training then, was he? He was meant to be trained by Barker, but he was better. I think he only saw him fleetingly. But Eddie's good. Eddie's a good salesman. I'm sure would spin it and sell it, but I would encourage him to focus on Makhmudov because I don't have Dave going into that fight as a favourite, despite what everyone's talking it as a given. Um, but Makhmudov seems to fold under pressure. So if he does an imitation of a Cabell, but he's not a Cabell fighter, I dare say he'll stop him because Max folded twice with Vianello and Cabell, so there is fragility there. But he's a big lump. He is a big lump, and Dave's when Dave stepped up. Dave doesn't seem to cope well with being a favourite, does he? It seems to affect him. So who knows? But Eddie will flog it if it comes through. Eddie will flog it, and maybe that's his comeback fight. But they always used to talk about Alan being 3 fights away from AJ, but that was when Eddie was at the AJ was at the very top. So perhaps he is one fight away from the shell of AJ now. Imagine if he beat him.
Oh, listen, he never got paid from sparring, so if he does fight Joshua, I hope he punches him upside down.
Me too. I think he owes him two, three. It was 300 rounds.
More than that, yeah, he broke his nose 5 times, David's.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, I think he used to get paid for sparring, but I don't think he got a bean when he used to go up. It's like when we were just talking earlier about fighters not getting paid because we're giving you the exposure. You're giving you the exposure to future CTE getting 300 rounds in the head off a massive puncher at the time in AJ. I hope he wins if he does fight him, and who knows where AJ's head's at. We certainly know where his chin's at.
Yeah. Uh, Derek War Chisora. He's saying it's his last fight. His next one is 50th, but he said that after his third after Caballel in Monaco. So
He's He's had more last fights than Fury's had retirements.
yeah,
War Chisora, middle class, privately educated man. He's not war at all.
you
He's
know.
a bully. But yeah, do we know who he's fighting? Now
No, they haven't got an opponent yet. Bricktop says they're going to name one. It's going to be on Manchester card apparently. So
yeah, I dare say he'll get paid well. He's good at getting paid well, and he's good at throwing his toys out to get paid a bit more. So I suspect he'll keep on earning, but it's not one I'll tune in. Not one I'll tune in wanting to win either. I always tend to cheer for the other person, but he's a tough cookie. He does keep going, doesn't he? And at least he's honest. He's in it for the money, isn't he?
could you see him fighting the Can Man
I'm not sure. I'm not
in a
sure.
trilogy?
Oh,
It'd be painful, wouldn't it, to see it build up again and all that, wouldn't it?
it would, but like I say, Dillian is so shot.
Mm,
um, so shot now. So because he came in the best shape of his life on paper, and obviously he's talking about he had an injury in that, but they might spin it. They span a third Fury fight, so they could well do. I think it'll be Dillian's best payday, wouldn't it? I'm not sure if it'll be Derek's.
mm. Would you? Now Dillian got 8 point odd million against Fury, though.
So sorry, I mean his best payday at this stage,
Oh
Porky.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you think Derek Chisora and Dillian are like James DeGale shot at this stage at game, or Dillian's more shot than Derek?
I think Dillian's more shot than Derek. Derek does seem to have that sturdy resilience, doesn't he? I don't think he's completely shot yet. I think Dillian definitely is. And also, Dillian's had so much inactivity due to various indiscretions and injuries that I don't think he's got much to left. I'm not sure. I think he came in shape for the last fight, but that doesn't mean that Father Time's not ticking. He's a little bit younger than Derek, but I think he's more shot worn because Derek just seems to have that I don't know what was in his dinner in Zimbabwe, but he is a tough cookie.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, that, isn't it? To be fair to Derek, he can sell a show, but yeah, I can't understand a word he says. I think that at some point in game, people like Derek and Rhino, they're going to just sound like James Tony. Did you hear him other day, James Tony, in that
I
interview?
I did sadly the one unboxing on PC Gully's channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. And the thing that is and that's someone who was one of the world's best defensive boxers. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that, that's pugilistic dementia, isn't it? It's sad to see, and I don't say that lightly or laughingly, but yeah, they're all going that way if they carry on because it's going to take its toll.
Yeah, I feel sorry for James Tony because he tries to make out he's this intimidating guy and that, innit? But I don't really think anybody understands a word he says. I couldn't understand him. He sounded like he were underwater.
It was a tough watch. I know it was only about 4.5, 5 minutes long, that video, but I think it's a bit cruel putting him under a camera. I don't think he used to do ringing. He used to do commentary, but I don't think he does anymore because he's not. You can't comprehend what he's saying. And again, I'm not mocking the gentleman. He's a great. That's yeah. It's sad. It's just sad. And I hope the likes of James DeGale don't go that way because he's sounding slurry. And like I say, well done for getting in the ring. He's a tough against
Yeah.
that guy that basically headbutted him for 5 rounds, but it's dangerous.
Yeah, James Tony made an article about him years ago. His mum had a cake shop, didn't she? She was a baker, wasn't she? And he used to come home from school. He played college football. He had a scholarship, and he used to get stuck into cakes and pastries and all that kind of thing. And
Yeah, well, he used he used to boil himself down from 210 to 154, didn't he?
mm,
That can't be the healthiest weight cut, and particularly not good for your brain come flight time when you've had to strip that much late water as well as the lard as well. Yeah, but the cake shop explains it. Although he did manage to do really well at sort of when he stepped up to career. I think he won Ring Fighter of the Year when he became a chubby fighter. So yeah, but he's not well now, is he, James?
now, I watched an interview with Lee Haney yesterday, and he was saying that all these guys that are having to boil down, sorry, have to take a lot, having to take a lot of weight off, and it's detrimental to the careers because they're spending weeks dieting and all that before they can do proper training. And I think that has a knock-on effect in boxing. People are spending 4, 5, 6 weeks to take the weight off, and then they've only got like a 6 week camp instead of having a full 12 week camp and turning up fit. For example, I always refer this back to Froch because I know his career off by heart. And he used to say to me, he'd have like half a stone to take off. He'd do that on his own on in over 2 week, doing runs and this and that and watching his weight. And then he'd turn up for the 12 week with McCracken on weight. You see where I'm coming from? So why don't people
Yeah.
take a leaf out? Because he had to wring every little ounce out in his career, Carl. A bit like Scott Quigg, because they're not like your James Tony Mayweather type. So they just do everything properly and get the most out of their careers. Why don't fighters take a leaf out their books?
Because it's hard work, isn't it? And again, no disrespect, I've never boxed other than as a very young kid, um, because I was forced to. But it's so detrimental. Like I say, if you're spending half or more of your camp making weight, it's a completely different sport. And not to talk about myself, but I used to ball myself down to 90 kilograms towards the end of my strongman career, if you can call it that. And I walked around at 125 kilos. I wasn't training for the events half the time. I was training to pull weight off. So when it comes to actually competing, you're done. And I wasn't getting punched, having to punch anyone else. So it can only limit your career as well. Like I say, the late great Ricky Hatton, he was open about he spent the first remit of his camp dropping weight, didn't he? In that, and that shortened the longevity of his career. And I think he was open and honest about that as well. It's never good for you, and it shortens your career as well as affects your performance in the ring.
Yeah. Okay. Crusher Benn's 29 today. So he enters his 30th year and he's not won out yet.
No, he's won nothing, but he's got a mythical WBC ranking in a weight division he's not fought in for 4 years, hasn't he? Yeah, he's made money. He's spent a lot trying to pretending to clear his name, but he's it's just a career trundling on. I hope he doesn't win the rematch. I fear Eubank might not be the same next time round because Benn's had time to fight him at the weight and did hurt him a little bit, but Benn's career is not one that I cheer for various reasons.
Yeah. Do you think that fight will happen in November? Do you think it's nailed on now?
I hope so. Half the reason for is I do like watching the press conferences with Eubank. One of the few people that can quieten Eddie Hills. One of the few people that can get him to quiet, and you can tell it annoys him as well. You can tell it rankles him, and that ego stuttering. I'd love a heart monitor on Eddie when Eubank because it'd be shooting up and that. But yeah, I do think it will because there's lots of money, and they're all gonna make a lot of money out of it. But I think we might be shortchanged if we're expecting the same as the first fight, which
Yeah.
was a good scrap.
Yeah. Do you feel that Eddie should have mentioned the the words should have spoke about Ricky Hatton at the beginning when he first started instead of when he was losing the argument with Chris trying to kind of thing.
Yes, I'm not saying it was calculated that he mentioned it then, but it seemed to be an excuse. He could have mentioned it at the beginning before any of the fighters began to talk, all the teams, and done so courteously. The fact that he then tried to use that as a possible prelude to get his words in, I don't think it was. I think it was an attempt to make Eubank look like he had poor taste, which I don't think that's the reason to cut him off. He cut him off because he said previously he will not let Eddie talk, and I think David Hay is the only other person that I've seen make Eddie shut up for at least 5 minutes, and I'm glad Eubank does it. And I don't think Eddie should have tried to use the memory of a boxer as great as Ricky as an attempt to get his two pennies with him.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, Big freeze against TKV on BBC Two for British heavyweight title, a coveted belt in a glamour division. That's what we want to see in it.
Absolutely, I like big.
BTV.
I like Big Freeze. I know everyone's mocking Shalom that he's got a lesser deal and maybe financially has. But boxing on BBC is something I'll always sign up to. That it's not like they said it's only on iPlayer, it's on BBC Two at a prime time, great exposure. And people like Big Freeze, he's a lovely fella. I know he stayed pro a long, long time, but he's a lovely fella. And I think he will not walk through to be disrespectful, but I think he'll stop TKV and do so well. And I think he'll be a deserving British title holder and hopefully get some respect back into the belts that have been avoided by so many people because they go the international route and the other trinkets. So I think it'll be a proper British heavyweight champion, particularly if Fraser wins as well. And I hope he does.
Did you mean he stayed amateur too long?
He did 3 Olympic cycles, but fair play to him. But I just mean, I hope he wins the title because it'd be nice. Because I don't think he will go on to world honours, but I think it'll be a lovely belt to have if it's the only thing he wins for his career.
Yeah. He he's a big soft cuddly teddy bear, isn't he? He's a nice kid, isn't he? Big freeze.
Yeah, I remember him. I remember him doing the security of the shows
Yeah.
and the security, and he was often trying to stop the trouble rather than incite it. And I always enjoyed seeing him there. But yeah, you can tell he's a decent guy. He's down to earth. I hope he's made good money, and I'd love to see him win. He's one of
Oh
the good
yeah,
guys, isn't he?
he's set up for life financially, but let's hope he flattens that dude and then gets stuck into the Rhino or David Adderley or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I want to see them guys fight.
I'd love to see him beat Adelaide as well. Adelaide's another person that pretends to be a roadman. There's nothing wrong with being university educated and from a decent background, which he is, but I'm just sick of the fake roadman prestige. So
His
I'd love
parents are
Freeze to fight.
barristers, aren't they?
Yeah, he's not from the ghetto. There's nothing to be ashamed about if you come from a good family. All credit to your parents, but
Nice
don't
kids,
pretend
though,
you are
mate.
if you're not.
Maybe he's just like that because he's trying to sell the fight. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. You don't know what the promoters say to him behind the scenes. I've been sat at many a meeting. I've heard Big Ron say, "Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Tell him to do this, tell him to say that." And I'm like, wow. Some people they're just not cut out for it, and some are. But when there's a lot of money on the table, you'll do anything. You'll fuck a snake, won't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. So who knows who is in his ear? And he is obviously being trained by the Dark Lord. So who knows
The
what
Dark
powers are at
Lord,
full set?
Adam Booth. Go to Adam Booth.
And he did. And he
Yeah, he
listened to
did.
you, Porky.
Yes. Do you think Ben Shalom's become like a whipping boy because he got in through back door, didn't he, at Sky, 4 shows, and Carl
Yeah.
Greaves had to hold his hand on nearly all of them. He got in through back door, and you think there was a bit of jealousy from Bricktop and Hills because they didn't really know if their TV deals were one were with BT Sport, one with DAZN, and they're always up in air, aren't they, with them sort of TV deals? Do you think they always kind of like had one eye on Sky and in with that deal, it sort of put the noses out of joint?
Definitely, and I think when you get a bully with a bully, it turns into double bully. And like I say, there's lots you can say about Ben Shalom and some of the underwhelming nature of his 4 years with Sky. But when someone like Eddie is going after you and bullying you and Jody Marshing you, I'll go out to bat for them. So I hope it goes really well for them, for the fighters they've got. So I hope he keeps them, as well as to annoy and have another alternative to be Eddie and Bricktop, which seem to just be one now. It seems to be a very united front from them. But yeah, I hope it does really well. And they have tried to use him as a whipping boy. And like I say, he is very young. He's what is he, 30? So good luck to him. I know, like I say, he's not from He's not from the ghetto or anything. Who cares? Neither thing. But yeah, the thing I always think is as well with Frank is he should have some understanding of the amount of fighting he had to do to break up the cartel when he had to tackle and he tried to keep them out the close shot. But he's got a very long memory sometimes, but a very short memory sometimes. So you'd hope he welcomed it, but the boxing promoters aren't they? They're not going to.
Well, looking at it from outside, when Bricktop were doing them unlicensed shows with Lenny McLean in late 70s and stuff like that, he went for his license in 1980, didn't he, Bricktop? So he's been going 45-year Bricktop, hasn't he now, in the next couple of
Yeah,
months, right? So 45-year with a professional license. He's had some battles with board, fair enough. He also helped him with the Michael Watson thing. He gave him 70 grand, didn't he,
he
at
did.
one point to help them. And when Watson sued them, they had to sell building in London and move to a semi in Cardiff, didn't they? But
Ah,
Bricktop should look at it like he was like Ben Shalom back then, and he went up against the cartel, and that's just like Ben going up against Bricktop, isn't it? Like he was going up against Mickey Duff and all them guys, wanted Jarvis Astaire and Mike Barrett, all that lot. Didn't he? Took him on, didn't he, Bricktop? And you got to give him his credit. He's fought his corner, Bricktop, and he's the comeback kid, isn't he?
oh yeah, he's more. Like I say, he's been lit. Talk about people taking shots. He's been attempted murdered. Like I say, he's fought the cartel. He's had to wind up
Bankrupt
companies. He
sometimes.
Lost London Arena, bankruptcy. He's lost TV deals. He's set his own channel up. He is resilient. He's
Yeah.
resilient, and he's on top. But why the need to snipe at someone who's 30 who's trying to make their own way in the game? He's successful enough, isn't he? And his
Yeah.
legacy is assured with his kids and stuff. And he'll probably be the only game in town because Matchroom are one
Looking
foot out of boxing. They're going to float. They're going to sell. They've already sold 10%. Um, they'll be floated on. They've got all the sports that make more money. So he doesn't. There's no need for it. But perhaps greed knows no bounds.
well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Uh, Women's boxing at the moment, in my opinion, it's pish. What's the answer now with women's boxing? I mean, we've got Terry Harper doing OnlyFans accounts, a free weight world champion, current world champion, 28-year-old in a prime. What's going on here? What is she skint, or is it just pure greed and wanting fans to dig deeper? Going, what's going on here?
I do believe she's had some bad luck with who she's been associated with, unbeknownst to her. But women's boxing, as unpalatable as to say sometimes, isn't the greatest watch, is it? And she's signed with MVP now, which some have done well with. But I think if you're not fighting, you're not earning with them. So I don't know what's happened with her. But women's boxing in general is is suffering and is not very it's not very you can turn over and with it like I said we had one took won a title within 4 or 5 fights.
Yeah.
That's 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 an that's indicative of how lack of depth there is in the sport. I don't know how many women are currently active amateurs. I don't know what we've got coming through. I don't know what their Olympic cycle's looking like. Probably affected by some of the news you've shared with me today in terms of English amateur boxing. But it's not always a good watch, and there's not many of them. And if the ones that are fighting are taking a leaf out of book, if we've got a current world champion taking a leaf out of the book of Ebony Bridges, that can't be good for the sport, can it?
Well, Terry Harper's weight division in England, there's 8 active fighters out the 9. So you're technically 8. You're an eliminator away from a final
Yeah.
eliminator if on your debut if they were a British title. That's why they
So,
can't be. So if there's 8 people active in a weight class, the pool's not there, is it?
not at all. So my wife could turn over, drop some weight, and she's top 10 before she's laced a glove up. It's yeah, it's not good, and it's not a good look either for the sport as well because you end up getting people recycling fights and the like. There's some really good boxers out there, Katie Taylor, but she's what 40-ish. She's not going to be there for long. So yeah, I don't know if if women's sport boxing will wither into nothing. But I don't know what's coming through at the amateur side. But I don't think it's very watchable at the moment. Obviously, there's a difference in the disconnect in power between men and women. That's not a politically incorrect thing to say. It's a fact. But also the quality of the boxing's not there as well because you've got people that shouldn't be in a ring in the ring.
Well, she's fought Brackus when she was 42, and she's just beat a woman who's now 44 her last fight. So, so Terry's got another 16 years if they want to milk her.
Yeah, there's that young girl that's turned over with Matchroom that seems really good. He was on about 300 fights across different disciplines of boxing. But again, even with someone with that talent, who are you going to fight? If there's seven, eight people in your domestic division, how are you going to learn and develop?
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. We're out of time, kid, but I
No
hope you
problem.
will. Nice to
Yeah,
see you, Sean.
likewise. I
Uh,
enjoyed it.
well, listen, you take care. And thanks for coming on and giving me your opinion on Porky's Corner. You're welcome on any time, lad.
My pleasure. Speak soon. Bye.
Cheers, Sean. Bye. That was Sean from out Humberside Way. Used to compete in strongman tournaments in UK. I think he's been a bodybuilder as well, so he speaks very clearly. Okie dokie. That's about it. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Don't forget to click the link pinned in the comments section. It'll take you straight to my sponsor. Go and have a little nosy. Remember, health is wealth. Go treat yourself. And don't forget to click on Porky's International YouTube. And that's it. It's time for a Americana cuppa and a penguin. Mint penguin. Waited all morning for that. Go on, pop, pop, bang. Max! Don't ring me ever again, Max. Until you're light heavyweight. Booyaka.